Hi, I'm Lucy Ellis, Senior Writer at Scrip, and I'm here at Bio Europe Spring in Barcelona. And today I'm joined by Francois Conquet, the CEO of Prexton Therapeutics, which is a company focused on brain disorders and specifically Parkinson's disease. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks
just to start off then, I wondered if you talk a bit about the company's founding and your technology.
Yes, so the company founding, this is an interesting topic because we were created, if I may say, from the closure of the Merck Serono site. So it's a spin-off of Merck Serono, and Merck Serono decided to give a seed funding to some biotechs in order to keep some projects alive.
Okay, and what were the next steps after that then? How did you get to where you are?
So then this sum of money was selected and prepared to help those biotechs, move on their own, and but with the condition to find other types of funding somewhere and after this seed funding. So the objective of the company, and this was managed by Merck Venture Group, which is a corporate venture fund of Merck Serono, the objective was to guide those biotechs, including us, to find new investors for Series A, Series B, and elsewhere.
And you've got the only mGluR4 targeting drug in the clinic at the moment. I wondered if you talk about how that works.
Yes, so this is an interesting story because many other companies and academia have been working on this target. I mean, some publications came out 10 years ago, so we were not the only ones working on that. But the special feature of our series of compounds is brain penetration, and Parkinson's disease, as you know, is a brain disease, so you have to work with a compound which stays long enough in the brain to do so. So that's maybe what may explain, that might be the only explanation, why we're the only mGluR4 company in the clinic at the moment.
Okay, and so you recently raised 29 million euros in a Series B financing. What's that going to be used for now, and what's sort of the timeline on your development for your lead product?
So now comes the next step, which is the phase 2. So we've moved from preclinical, the validation of the target had been done in the past, to phase 1. The objective was to see whether this compound was well tolerated in healthy volunteers, and the next step is to evaluate the efficiency of the compound in patients. And for that we need a substantial amount of money, as you may know. Phase 2 trials are extremely extremely expensive. I mean, require a lot of money, and that's the reason of this Series B funding. And the purpose of this 29 million euros is to support this phase 2 clinical trials.
Yeah. And what's your timeline for those trials and the next data?
So, at the moment, we're in the preparation of selecting the different countries, sites, hospitals. We have now most of the Parkinson's KOLs in Europe who are supporting us, and the first patient to be recruited is scheduled in June of this year.
Okay.
And it will last 1 year and a half, which means that at the end of 2018, December, if everything goes well, this trial will be finished.
And will it be international then? Do you have multiple sites in different?
Yes, so we have two types of phase 2. The first one is a European one. It will be focused on 6 countries, Germany, France, UK, Austria, Italy, Spain.
Yeah.
Okay, 46 centers specialized in Parkinson's disease. And this will be a study dedicated to the assessment of all the different symptoms of Parkinson's disease, as a general assessment whether this compound is able to treat the symptoms of Parkinson's disease. A small clinical trial, which can be called a POC, proof of concept, will be performed in the US.
So Prexton is focused on brain diseases and at the moment Parkinson's. Is this an area that investors have more interest in at the moment, do you think?
CNS and brain diseases is known to be a risky indication. You may have heard that there were recently some failures of compounds in different aspects of neurological diseases. Parkinson's is one of them, but Alzheimer's is another one, psychiatric disorders are others, and the main success are very, very rare in this indication because it's extremely difficult to run those clinical trials, to be efficient. I'm not saying that it's easier in other indications, but it's risky. So investors, are just following the trends given by the big pharmas to a certain extent.
Okay, and so you're at BioEurope Spring now. Are you looking for partners? And if so, what would partners have to give to you?
So when I first came to BioEurope 4 or 5 years ago, in the name of Prexton, of course, we were looking for investors, of course, because we needed, it's very costly to run a biotech, and you had to convince investors. And the investors are present at BioEurope. But now, since we've been able to raise this amount of money to run the clinical phases, now we're looking for pharma companies, and they're also present at BioEurope. So the type of partners is changing over the years as we're progressing through the development of this compound.
So it's nice that they're changing as you change, but
Yes.
still at BioEurope. In summary then, what are you looking forward to for this year? What are your goals for the company?
So the goal for the company is really to find a pharma partner, and what we've been doing in the last 2 or 3 years is really to format these clinical trials and the development of this compound as a real medication which can be handed on to a big pharma. And we need to comply the standards of the pharma industry in order to work with them, because you may know that it's very difficult for a small biotech to perform a phase 3. A phase 3 clinical trial is extremely costly. So we're preparing this transition from a biotech to a big pharma, and that's the goal of the next years.
And have you had much interest so far?
Yes, we've raised some interest from big pharmas, which have a dedicated interest in CNS. There are other indications in CNS. There's a wide range of sub-indications, but we've decided to stay focused on this indication, Parkinson's disease.
So watch this space. Thank you for joining us today. And
Thanks for interviewing me. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.